So, I really wanted to concentrate and really try and work out what is going on in Syria. I know now that even the word Syria, when you hear it, comes into your brain in a very strange way. It comes along with lots of ideas and lots of associations and memes, things associated with the word Syria, like refugees and dying children. That is now what the word Syria means in the popular mind. But I was asking myself, what really is going on in Syria? As long as you use logic at all times, and you can take into account all information while always having a little part of your mind where you're using logic to try and work out what is really going on. There's a lot of hype around what's going on with Syria. I mean, a lot of people seem to be coming to the opinion that this is World War III, starting right now. And if you look at what's going on in the media, if you read the newspaper articles and you read this sort of rhetoric that's slowly building up, starting with Britain saying no to the war, and then America going to Congress, and now Russia saying that they are going to take action in Syria. And a key piece of information given to me by somebody who commented is that there's a massive international weapons fair in just like a couple of weeks, or even like 1 week's time, in the middle of September in 2013. And if you look at the hype surrounding Syria and you ignore the blame game of trying to work out where the chemicals came from, because if you ask me, the chemicals came from a barrel of chemical and one paid militant with a rocket-propelled grenade who put a barrel in a building, went to an opposite building with a gas mask, shot a rocket-propelled grenade into the barrel or blew up the chemical container, and there was a chemical release, and he got the hell out of there with his gas mask as quickly as he possibly could, and he got very well paid for it. And this, he probably believed he was doing it for the good of the rebels and wasn't being controlled by the Western government. But what he didn't realise is the guy in charge of him, who got him to do it, who he trusts, is a lot closer to the Western involvement in the government, which is coming to them in the form of spy agencies and secret service, special secret service, SSS, who are just in the country making sure that these guys are really exposed to modern warfare tactics, because they are up against army people. The hype that has been surrounded around this, what is definitely a proxy war on both sides between America and Russia. Britain is in there as the cultural advisor, because now we're not allowed to take military action. We're going to be using humanitarian law. And the humanitarian law applies very strongly to the borders of the country, the borders of Syria. The British government can now control the borders of Syria using I was going to say concentration camps, fema camps in the desert, which are on the borders, because these are where the refugees are coming from, and so they're allowed through humanitarian international law to set up a military base. A prison. A temporary holding city. Glastonbury with no music. Now, if you look at the situation in Syria and the hype surrounding it and the whole media and political frenzy around it, what you actually are witnessing is a certain set of groups making lots of money right now. If you look at who's making lots and lots of money right now, you will find that it is foreign policy think tanks primarily, and these are people who sit in the CFR in America and the Royal Institute of International Affairs in Britain and St James's Square, Chatham House, and they're paid, and numerous other societies as well. They're all being paid a lot of money right now to work overtime on strategy as to what is happening with this situation. Now, of course, there's another set of people making a lot of money out of the situation in Syria. The weapons industry are making huge amounts of money. I mean, huge amounts of money. They work internationally. There's a few select companies that have all of the patents on all of the high alien technology that they have to do with targeting and laser guidance.
Range 8 miles. Target now, 2.5 miles. Target in range.
Have a very, very expensive network of secret military satellites in orbit, and these are crucial to maintaining the advantage over the entire world and being able to block any navigation satellites owned by any other country, other than the fact that possibly a Russian satellite up there might start joining in the action as well. Because that is exactly what is happening in front of us. A lot of people say this is the build-up to World War III. It's not. What it's the build-up of is people owning multi-million pounds worth of ballistic missiles and projection, targeting systems for the military with ballistic projectiles. That's all being paid for by public money, or rather money that's printed through, I don't know, maybe it's they're filtering down the quantitative easing money when the Bank of England says quantitative easing time, here's £3 billion that just happened to appear in our vault. Anyone want it? And then they go, oh, okay, well, you can't just pass it off to us, give it to these guys, and then sooner or later it will come to us, don't worry. In fact, we could design a system that runs it through the Home Office in the guise of humanitarian aid. Then they high-five each other and they go, plan. Now the point of that is, Britain said no, so we can't use these missiles. That's the mind control. But the reality is that they're going to be controlling the borders. The big international business model going forward in the future is not ballistic missiles. It is covert and overt surveillance networking. It is big facilities of security surveillance with all of that machinery. Scanners, metal detecting, G4S little bods with funny uniforms on. And that is globally, that is becoming a bigger business model than building missiles. So the weapons companies are now turning their business model into international constitutional humanitarian security.